head smashed 5 times with a slab. India numbed over murder, most foul. 16-year-old Sakshi butchered for spurning Sahil. Delhiites stood on the side and watched her die. Delhi demonic crime wakes India. Top focus on 5 Live.
India's national capital has for long been known as the murder capital, the rape capital, the most unsafe city for women. And today, the killing of 16-year-old Sakshi in a part of India's national capital has come as a truly diabolical reminder of why each of those definitions are totally and shamefully appropriate for Hamari Delhi. It's a city we love. Those who live in it cherish it and miss it when they're not there. But this is the city that has been the bedrock of the worst crimes this country has had to see. I'm Shiv Aroor. This is 5 Live, and I'm going to take you through the latest. First, the headlines. A murder most foul in the heart of Delhi. It is heartbreaking, terrifying, and I'm going to tell you some details that aren't being reported just yet. Teenager stabbed to death by her jilted lover, 20-year-old Sahil arrested by the Delhi police. Key details of the FIR against the wrestlers who've been protesting has been accessed by us. FIR says police alerted the stir will hit the national prestige, reveals wrestlers broke barricades and obstructed the police. Prime Minister Modi government to complete 9 years, over 50 rallies planned across India. 12 BJP bigwigs to woo voters in states. Congress assures mega 2024 win against Modi. Delhi High Court issues notice to terrorist Yasin Malik on NIA plea seeking his death penalty. Notice to be served through Tihar Jail Authority. Chandrayaan-3 reaches Sriharikota for journey to the moon on ISRO's powerful GSLV Mark III rocket, launch slated for June. In Delhi, we have never been unused to grisly crimes. Some of those crimes caught on camera. We've been used to viral videos of crimes being committed against women. This is the city in which the Nirbhaya crime happened as well. But the video that you see here capturing the merciless, diabolical murder of 16-year-old Sakshi by her jilted lover Sahil has quaked, shattered, terrified and numbed not just this city, but I suspect the entire country as well. I just got here from out of station and I can tell you that people all around me were watching the news on their mobile phones and consuming this horrifying video clip captured on CCTV of the killing of a 16-year-old woman by her jilted lover. He stabs her repeatedly. He smashes her head with stones. There is nothing to sensationalize in this crime because that is how terrible and horrible every aspect of it is. In a moment, you're going to hear from the families, you're going to hear from our reporters, and we will piece together how Sahil, just 20 years old himself, an AC mechanic, could pull himself to commit such a murder, and that too against someone who he called his own girlfriend. India stands numbed, but viewer, I don't only want to tell you about the crime because this being Delhi, they say Delhi hai dilwalon ka. Well, this video has proven just how heartless Delhi can actually be. Take a very close look at the pictures once again. In the background, you can see the murder taking place, the repeated stabbing of young Sakshi, the murder of Sakshi by Sahil. But please note, viewer, what is perhaps even more terrifying, even more ghastly and even more unbelievable to all of us. Residents coolly walking by, hardly reacting, hardly breaking into a jog. They don't even speed in their pace. They see the murder taking place in front of them and they just stroll by. They casually glance at the murder being committed, but there is no reaction. Forget about trying to intervene and stop the crime from happening. They don't even try to get away quickly. Small little glance out of curiosity. They turn around to look कि क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर? That it's a murder taking place. It's a well-lit area. It's a street in Delhi. And they simply carry on with their work, carry on with their day. This is an image that should shatter, terrify and numb Delhi and the country perhaps as much as, if not more, than the crime you see happening in the background. It is too grisly for us to show you those pictures without a blur on them, viewer, because that is the reality of what took place and what happened to young Sakshi. Gut-wrenching is the murder of this 16-year-old girl in the national capital. Sakshi was stabbed, as you no doubt can tell from the video, over 20 times by her jilted lover Sahil in Rohini's Shahbad dairy area. This is a part of North Delhi. She was stabbed incessantly while all of those passers-by, each one of them will be judged at some point, I hope. They did absolutely nothing. They ignored her screams, and when she fell silent, they simply had a look like it was some mela going on, and they simply walked by. The act was so horrific that at one point, Sahil's knife got stuck in young Sakshi's head, but Sahil did not stop. When Sakshi had succumbed to the stabbings, when she had collapsed to the floor, he kept hitting her with the knife and then smashed her head with a heavy stone. The reason why I'm bringing you these details is because this is a crime that everyone is talking about at this point of time. You're tuned in and you're watching 5 Live here on India Today, but I can tell you across Delhi and across India, people are watching this story with a fresh wave of horror. Sahil picked up a heavy slab lying nearby and started hitting her as people continued to walk by with absolute indifference. Not even a single person, not one person. I wish I could say one person stopped you, but not a single person tried to intervene or stop Sahil or try and call the police immediately or gather forces and try and overpower Sahil. Any one of them could have done it. I know it's easy to say. I know it's easy to say, viewer. Believe me, when it comes to intervening, helping others, helping people you don't know, the good Samaritan impulse practically does not exist in this country. But when you see a young woman being butchered in that manner, would you not, think about it for a moment, viewer, would you not at least try and gather others to try and overpower this monster and in some way possibly try and save her, if not get her to a hospital? Sahil and Sakshi were allegedly in a relationship and had a fight a day earlier to this incident. Sakshi was going to attend her friend's son's birthday party when Sahil reportedly stopped her in that lane near his house and then committed this horrific crime. Sahil has been arrested from Bulandshahr in Uttar Pradesh. Sakshi's parents, not surprisingly, are demanding the death penalty.
जो अक्यूज्ड है उसको कहां से गिरफ्तार किया गया?
देखिए, जो अभी खबर आई है उसके हिसाब से जो स्पेशल टीम बनी थी, इसको बहुत सारे इलाकों में भेजा गया था. यूपी के बुलंदशहर से उसे पकड़ा गया है और वो टीम पकड़कर दिल्ली ला रहे हैं उसे.
सर, और क्या जानकारी मिली है आरोपी के बारे में? आरोपी क्या करता है और किस तरह से इंसिडेंट को अंजाम दिया?
देखिए, ये प्रिलिमिनरी स्टेज ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन है. कल देर शाम में ये पुलिस को खबर लगी कि एक लड़की की हत्या हो गई है. पुलिस वहां पहुंचती है. सीसीटीवी वगैरह जो अगल बगल में है उसके आधार पर और पूछताछ के आधार पर ये बात सामने आता है कि साहिल नाम का एक लड़का है. ये बच्ची 16 साल की है. साहिल नाम का एक लड़का है जिसकी उम्र लगभग 20 बरस है. पहले से जानकारी थी और कुछ अनबन हो गई थी और उस बात को लेकर जब बच्ची एक जगह से किसी अपने दोस्त के यहाँ रुकी हुई थी, जब वापस आ रही थी, तब उसको रास्ते में घेरकर उससे बहुत सारे, कई बार चाकू से वार किया और पत्थर से उसका सर कुचल दिया. तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट कि उस जो एसेलेंट है, एसेलेंट के जितने भी पॉसिबल कनेक्ट कॉन्टैक्ट या उसका जो लोकेशन वगैरह है, इस सब के आधार पर कई टीमें भेजकर डिस्पैच कर दिया गया था और अब से थोड़ी देर पहले उसको पकड़ लिया गया है।
अच्छा, एक सवाल और है सर, जिसको लगातार तमाम लोग उस पर सवाल भी उठा रहे हैं। जो सीसीटीवी दिखाई दे रहा है उसमें देखा जा रहा है कि कई लोग हैं वो पासरबाई गुजर रहे हैं, इंसिडेंट होता देख रहे हैं, जो आरोपी है वो चाकू मार रहा है, उसके बाद पत्थर भी उठा के मार रहा है, लेकिन लोग कोई बचाने नहीं आया और इस तरह के इंसिडेंट लगातार हो रहे हैं। इसको लेकर दिल्ली पुलिस क्या करती रहती है?
देखिए, पुलिस का एक फोकस्ड रोल है। मैं केवल एक जनरल यही कहना चाहूंगा कि ये हाइट ऑफ इनसेंसिटिविटी है। हम अगर अपने सामने कोई इस तरह का अपराध होता देख रहे हैं तो निश्चित रूप से हमें इंटरवीन करना चाहिए। अगर वो इंटरवीन करते तो शायद ये नहीं होता। तो ये डिफरेंट है। जो पुलिस का हमारा प्रोफेशनल फोकस्ड रोल है कि ये एक नृशंस हत्या है और इसमें आरोपी को हमने पकड़ा है और हम साक्ष्य इस तरह से इकट्ठा करेंगे और इस तरह से इसको फोर्सफुली न्यायालय के सामने रखेंगे ताकि इस पे कड़ी से कड़ी सजा हो सके, एक्यूज्ड को मौत की सजा तक।
माफ करिएगा, दोबारा पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि सर इस वक्त आप लाइव हो चुके हैं आज तक पर। तो मेरा ये सवाल है कि किस तरीके से पुलिस को ये जानकारी मिली थी इस इंसिडेंट के बारे में?
देखिए, इस इंसिडेंट के बारे में सबसे पहले लोकल पुलिस स्टेशन में जो पुलिस के स्टाफ हैं उनको कहीं से जानकारी मिली कि ऐसी घटना हुई है। पुलिस वहां पहुंचती है, पहुंचने के बाद उसने जो होता हुआ दिखा, उसके बाद सीसीटीवी और अगल बगल में पूछताछ से और लड़की जो विक्टिम है उसको आइडेंटिफाई करके एक सर्कमस्टांसेस एट फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस हम लोगों ने इस बात का आकलन कर लिया और पता कर लिया। उसके बाद जो टीम्स हैं वो डिस्पैच हो गई और एक मोटा मोटी क्या कारण हो सकता है या है इसके बारे में जानकारी हासिल किया, एक्यूज्ड आइडेंटिफाई किया और टीम गई और टीम को आज पकड़ा गया है। और बाकी जो इससे रिलेटेड एविडेंसेस हैं ताकि कड़ी से कड़ी सजा मिल सके उस पर टीम काम कर रही है और अब उसे एक्यूज्ड को पकड़ के लाएंगे और आगे की कानूनी कार्रवाई।
आखिरी सवाल है मेरा, जो आपने बताया वजह क्या है, क्या कारण है कि इतनी बड़ी हैवानियत को अंजाम दिया जो अक्यूज्ड है साहिल, जिसको आपने गिरफ्तार भी कर लिया?
देखिए, मुकम्मल तरीके से इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद ये बात सामने आएगी, लेकिन एट फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस जो बच्ची है उससे एसेलेंट की कोई जानकारी थी। शायद इधर कुछ दिनों में या तो कोई झगड़ा हुआ है या बच्ची ने बात करना बंद कर दिया। इसका रोष, इसका गुस्सा क्राइम फॉर पैशन दिखता है एट फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस।
लास्ट मैसेज, चूंकि आप स्पेशल कमिश्नर हैं, क्या मैसेज देंगे उन लोगों को? क्योंकि देखिए जो सीसीटीवी है सर उसमें कई लोग वहां से गुजरते हुए दिखाई दे रहे हैं, कई भीड़ वहां खड़ी है, किसी ने बहुत ज्यादा रिएक्ट करने की कोशिश नहीं की। अगर रिएक्ट करने की कोशिश की होती, यही सवाल उठ रहा है, लोग यही उठा रहे हैं, तो शायद पीड़िता की जान बच सकती थी।
देखिए, दिल्ली एक महानगर है, यहाँ एनोनिमिटी है, लेकिन संबंधों की दुनिया ही समाज है। अगर हम अपने आसपास में इस तरह की कोई घटना होते हुए देखते हैं तो टू बेस्ट ऑफ आवर एबिलिटी हमको इंटरवीन कर इसको रोकना चाहिए, हो हल्ला मचाना चाहिए और जो एसेलेंट है उसको डिसुएड करना चाहिए, उसको कंटेन करना चाहिए ताकि इससे जान बच सकती है। एक बात, जो पुलिस का फोकस्ड रोल है, हम इसको विथ स्पीड एंड सर्टेनिटी इस पर हम एक्शन कर रहे हैं, करेंगे ताकि इसका डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन, इफेक्टिव डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन इफेक्ट हो और इस तरह की घटना आगे फ्यूचर में ना होने पाए। और इस केस में साक्ष्य को इस तरह से इकट्ठा करेंगे ताकि कड़ी से कड़ी सजा मिले, इसे मौत की भी सजा मिले।
कल एक लड़की के घर बर्थडे था, उसी बर्थडे का सामान खरीद के लेके आई है बाजार से, चप्पल वप्पल नया सब कुछ खरीदी है। उसके बाद बाजार में फिर वापसी गई है। उसके बाद बोली मैं शौचालय जा रहा हूँ, शौचालय सर आ रही हूँ। उसके बाद उसको पता नहीं किसने मार दिया, मुझे नहीं पता चला।
कब पता चला आपको?
मुझे 9 बजे एक लड़की भागते भागते आई कि तुम साक्षी की मम्मी हो, गेट खोलो, तुम चलो, तुमको साक्षी कोई मार दिया। हमने कहा तुम झूठ बोल रही हो।
साहिल को कैसे जानती थी?
हमें नहीं सर पता है।
ये बताया गया कि साहिल के घर पे ही रहती थी साक्षी।
साहिल के घर पे नहीं, उसके घर पे रह रही है। वो नीतू नाम की लड़की है, उसके घर पे रहती थी।
क्या करते थे साहिल, क्या करते थे?
हमें नहीं पता सर, ये साहिल के बारे में हम अभी आज सुनी हूँ, इससे पहले कुछ नहीं।
पहले कभी जानते थे साहिल को?
हम नहीं जानते।
घर आया आपके?
नहीं, हम नहीं सुने।
साक्षी की माँ का यही कहना है कि इसकी दोस्त नीतू थी जिसके पास ये जरूर आती जाती थी अक्सर, लेकिन साहिल को नहीं जानती थी। राजेश खत्री, आज तक, शाहबाद डेयरी।
I want to go straight across to the murder spot itself, where India Today's Shreya Chatterjee has been reporting since the story broke on India Today earlier today. Shreya, horrifying images. Nobody has been able to digest the barbarity that's been captured on that CCTV camera. As you reported, Sahil has been arrested. He was apparently picked up in Bulandshahr in UP. Take us through what happens next procedurally, Shreya, first.
Shiv, after the arrest of Sahil, what we will likely see is the Delhi police obviously producing him before the court and taking his remand. What we have already understood is making a strong case against him. Possibly, they'll ensure penalty, because from the visuals that has been caught in the CCTV camera of the area where I'm standing right now, this was a monstrous act. This is the very wall against which Sakshi was pinned down. She was stabbed 21 times. That did not, quench the thirst of this monstrous man, Sahil. He went again, bludgeoned her with a slab. But what probably is the most unfortunate is this is a busy stretch. As we see that there are people around thronging the region. The CCTV captured the same. Not a single person acted as a good Samaritan, tried to stop Sahil. It was not a difficult act because, something that I have been, thinking ever since I've come in this area, there are heaps of stones lying. The basic thing a man could have done is just picked a stone and probably thrown at this person, Sahil. But no person made this courageous act. If they would have, possibly Sakshi would have been alive.
That's exactly what I was wondering as well, Shreya, when we started this show. As disturbing, as terrifying as the crime itself is the unbelievable apathy and indifference of each of those people passing by. They hardly stop for a second. They glance. It's not like it was very dark. You could easily see what was taking place. The girl was screaming in the first part of the video, yes, apparently. And they just continue to walk. None of them even stop. They just keep walking. And they could have easily collected a few people and overpowered Sahil.
Well, easily they could have done that. I cannot deny that it was a difficult task. This man wasn't wielding a gun. He had a knife. Overpowering Sahil wasn't difficult. Where I'm standing right now, Shiv, this is a house. There are people living inside. What unfortunately happened, no one really thought they should come out and stop him. What their alibi is, they do not want to come on camera, but they say that Sahil was shouting over here saying that if anyone comes out, he will attack them too. That's what stopped everyone to come and stop Sahil. Not a single person acted as a good Samaritan. Possibly that could have saved Sakshi. But also one question that a lot of locals here have been raising is that this particular area has seen a lot of nefarious activities. There are people like drug addicts who come over here. Despite so, Delhi police patrolling is also very low and relatively not seen in the area. There's some answering also on the part of the police because probably that's also missing somewhere on the ground.
Shreya, thanks for that update. We'll keep coming back to you for more on that story. Being produced in court is the next step since Sahil has now been arrested from UP's Bulandshahr. We'll get you a bit about how he was arrested as well. There are some interesting details and disturbing details from that angle as well. But here are some reactions coming in from some eyewitnesses on the ground, as also people from the National and State Commission for Women in the capital.
सर हमें यही था, पता चला कि काफी भीड़ लगी हुई थी, हम लोग आए उधर से तो कह रहे थे यहाँ किसी को मार के फेंक दिया है कुछ लड़कों ने और वो भाग गए। तो उसके बाद हम लोग भी आए, काफी देर तक भीड़ थी, काफी देर तक लड़की पड़ी थी, करीब आधे पौने घंटे वो लड़की यहीं पड़ी थी। पुलिस के आने के बाद जब फॉरेंसिक आई तो उसके बाद वो लेके गई।
अगर मान लो रिलेशनशिप भी हो, उसने ना किया, जो कि मीडिया की द्वारा पता लग रहा है कि कुछ ऐसा हुआ, लड़ाई हुई, तो वो किस लिए ना नहीं ले पाते? क्यों नहीं सोच पाते कि लड़की की अपनी मर्जी भी हो सकती है? लोगों में इतना कैसे सहन हो सकता है कि वो एक लड़की को पिटते देख लें और वो भी हत्या करते देख लें और ना रोके?
दिल्ली एक बहुत ही ज़्यादा असुरक्षित जगह है महिलाओं के लिए और बच्चियों के लिए, और साथ में दिल्ली बहुत असंवेदनशील भी हो गई है। ये क्यों हो रहा है? मैं ये मानती हूँ कि आज दिल्ली में किसी को डर नहीं लगता। लोगों को लगता है कि वो किसी भी महिला के खिलाफ, किसी भी बच्ची के खिलाफ कुछ भी कर देंगे, घिनौना से घिनौना अपराध कर देंगे और कानून व्यवस्था और दिल्ली पुलिस उनका कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ पाएगी। इसको बदलने की ज़रूरत है। मेरी केंद्र सरकार से अपील है, तुरंत एक हाई लेवल कमेटी की मीटिंग बुलाए जिसमें देश के होम मिनिस्टर हों, क्योंकि दिल्ली पुलिस सीधे सीधे उन्हें रिपोर्ट करती है। एलजी साहब हो, मुख्यमंत्री हो, दिल्ली पुलिस कमिश्नर हो और दिल्ली महिला आयोग की अध्यक्ष हो।
Now, the deceased girl, Sakshi's father, has unsurprisingly demanded the death penalty for Sahil. My daughter was stabbed many times. Her head was bludgeoned into pieces. I want to tell you that India Today will continue to cover this case with a great deal of sensitivity, and we will tread very carefully in the claims and the reportage that we're doing on this developing story. Here is what Sakshi's father has just told the press.
देखिए तो बड़ी भीड़ भाड़ लगी थी। फिर सर जी आए, बोले चलो घर वाले को ले गए। तो वहाँ से उसने फोन की मेरे को, बोली ये तो मर गई, आगे देखो। तो मैं गया तो पहचाना कि हाँ भाई मेरी बेटी।
कैसी हालत थी जब आपने देखा वहाँ पर?
मैम उसकी बहुत बुरी हालत थी मैम। उसके जो है पेट में इतने चक्कू मारे थे, सारी अतरी पतली बाहर थी और पत्थर सर के 4 टुकड़े हो गए थे मैम।
अच्छा, फिर आपने पुलिस को फोन किया?
नहीं मैम, पुलिस तो पहले आ चुकी थी। पुलिस वालों ने हमारी घरवाले को ले गया
जी। तो क्या था, मतलब जो दोस्त बताई जा रही है साहिल को जानती थी, तो क्या आपको पता था साहिल के बारे में?
नहीं मैम, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता था साहिल के बारे में।
जी, कि बताया जा रहा है उसकी दोस्ती थी उसके साथ, उसको जानती थी, झगड़ा हुआ था दोनों के बीच में।
मैम क्या पता क्या हुआ था, लेकिन ये बारे में मुझे नहीं पता था, झगड़ा हुआ था या दोस्ती थी या क्या था, ये मैम मुझे नहीं पता था। ना मैंने कभी सुना था, ना उसकी किसी सहेलियों से, ना कभी आते जाते उसको कोई लड़के की छेड़छाड़ मैंने देखा। कभी साथ में बाजार ले जाते, चल बेटा क्या खाना पीना है, तो ऐसी कोई हमने नहीं देखा कि कोई हरकत कोई लड़का करता हो या उसने कभी ऐसा मुझे दिखी हो। तो ऐसा तो मुझे नहीं था मैम। लेकिन कल जो है जब मुझे पता लगा, मैं वहाँ गया तो जब पूछताछ होने लगी तो भाई उनकी एक सहेली थी, वो कहने लगी कि उसकी वो दोस्ती थी क्या थी ऐसा, लेकिन मुझे नहीं पता था। अभी तो मैं ये चाहता हूँ कि जैसे मेरे बेटी को बेरहमी से मारा है, वैसे उसको सजा कड़ी से कड़ी मिलनी चाहिए, जो आगे कोई ऐसे केस या कोई ऐसे करने की हिम्मत ना ले।
Okay, let's go straight across to Shreya once again to get an update on that. Shreya, not surprising whatsoever after such a ghastly crime for parents in shock to demand the death penalty. They've lost their child in the most horrible, grisly manner. So one can only imagine their mental state at this point of time. I wanted to ask you, Shreya, since you've been at the site and the spot through the day, the mother of Sakshi says she has no idea who Sahil was. Was the family aware? Did they know about what was going on? Were they familiar with Sahil?
Of the presence of Sahil in Sakshi's life. The mother has spoken to the media, and the mother is very clearly suggested that she wasn't aware that Sahil knew Sakshi. And what is another shocking development that we've learned, Shiv, is that Sakshi wasn't staying with the parents for the last 10 to 15 days. She was staying at a friend Neetu's house. It was the birthday of Neetu's son yesterday, something that Sahil was aware of, and that's exactly how he intercepted Sakshi in this very spot and subsequently carried out the entire murder. But so far as the family knowing about Sahil's whereabouts in Sakshi's life, they clearly denied that. They say they did not know that Sahil was Sakshi's friend.
Okay, Shreya, thanks very much for getting us the latest on that. The victim's father has also spoken out at this point of time, demanding the death penalty. We've got more breaking news coming in now. Okay, Sakshi's friend has also spoken out, says Sakshi knew Sahil for more than 3 to 4 years. The two were fighting because Sakshi had refused any conversation with Sahil. Listen in, Sakshi's friend has just spoken out, says that they knew each other for the last 3 to 4 years. The two were fighting because Sakshi had refused to speak to Sahil. They'd obviously had an altercation or maybe had broken up.
मेरे हस्बैंड कहीं बाहर गए काम के सिलसिले में, तो मैं अकेली थी 2 बच्चों को। वो मेरे पास ही ज़्यादा खुश रहती थी, इसलिए मेरे पास ही थी। मुझे मिलती है बाज़ार में वो कपड़े लेती है मेरी बेटी के लिए। फिर वहाँ से सीधा कहती नहीं कहती तो आप घर जाओ, मैं अपने घर जा रही हूँ, वो भावना के पास जा रही हूँ, मतलब भावना नाम के दोस्त है हमारी, उनके पास गई थी वो। तो वहाँ से उसने यूँ बोला कि मैं जा रही हूँ फ्रेश होने, टॉयलेट जा रही हूँ मैं, वॉशरूम। उसके बाद से सर वो अब वापस नहीं आया हमारे।
कौन है लड़का जिसने?
साहिल नाम का लड़का है।
साहिल नाम का। कितने दिन से इस लड़की से मिल रहा था?
सर मेरी मतलब मेरी तो जान पहचान इससे 6 या 7 महीने ही हुए उस लड़की से, लेकिन वो लड़की पहले से साहिल को जानती थी करीब 3-4 साल से।
3-4 साल से जानती थी। आपको मालूम था इसको लड़की का 3-4 साल?
नहीं सर, उस टाइम तो यार मेरे को मालूम नहीं था, लेकिन जब ये मेरे बिल्कुल क्लोज आ गई उसके बाद इसने मुझे बताया था कि दीदी साहिल नाम के लड़के से मेरी दोस्ती है।
तो अगर दोस्ती थी तो इसने फिर चाकू?
सर इनकी लड़ाई चल रही थी काफ़ी टाइम से।
किस बात?
बात ना कर रही थी।
And this being the national capital, obviously politics has followed the grisly crime. The 16-year-old's death is now the big flashpoint over which politicians are fighting. While the Aam Aadmi Party is blaming the Delhi Lieutenant Governor who's appointed by the centre, the BJP has provided a love jihad twist to this ghastly crime. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has hit out at the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, saying it's his responsibility, law and order is his responsibility, and that criminals have become fearless. There is no fear of the police in the national capital. For our viewers who may not be familiar, remember the Delhi police doesn't come under the Delhi government, it comes under the national capital territory, the Lieutenant Governor and thereby the Home Ministry at the centre. Meanwhile, the BJP has trained its guns at the Aam Aadmi Party. BJP leader Kapil Mishra has linked the gruesome murder to the Kerala story. He further said that even Shraddha, remember Shraddha Walkar? He said she's not got justice yet and doesn't know how many more Shraddhas are becoming victims of this brutality every day. That's his insinuation that this is love jihad.
दिल्ली पुलिस ने बताया ये साहिल सन ऑफ सरफराज है जो मार रहा है, और वो एक नाबालिग हिंदू बेटी है जिसको इस प्रकार से गोदा जा रहा है, चक्कुओं से, पत्थरों से मारा जा रहा है, और भरी भीड़ के बीच में कोई बचा नहीं पा रहा उस बिटिया को। ये गली गली कितनी केरला स्टोरी, आखिर कितनी, कब तक बेटियों को इस तरह मारा जाता रहेगा, ऐसे निर्दयता के साथ, इस प्रकार कुचल कुचल के। और अभी इसी दिल्ली में श्रद्धा के साथ भी यही हुआ था, अभी तक श्रद्धा के हत्यारे को भी कोई फांसी नहीं हुई। तो ये न्यायपालिका की भी बहुत बड़ी फेलियर है। अगर श्रद्धा का हत्यारा फांसी पे लटका हुआ होता तो शायद इस साहिल की, सरफराज के बेटे साहिल की हिम्मत नहीं होती।
देखिए, ये जो घटना घटी है बहुत दुखद है। उस बच्ची के साथ ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, और उससे भी दुखद है कि वहाँ 5-7 लोग खड़े हैं, तो मतलब दिल्ली में इंसानियत नाम की चीज़ बची नहीं है। लोग एक दूसरे की मदद नहीं करते, अविश्वास है। लेकिन जहाँ तक एक ही संप्रदाय की बात है, तो मैं फिर कहता हूँ कि जो राजनीतिक दल तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करते हैं, एक धर्म विशेष को खुश करने का प्रयास करते हैं, उनको इस घटना से सबक लेना चाहिए। अगर वो बच्ची उस युवक को मना कर रही है कि भाई मुझे तुमसे बात नहीं करनी है, तो सिर्फ इसलिए कि उसके मन में जिहादी मानसिकता भरी हुई है और एक धर्म विशेष ने उसको इस काम पे लगाया हुआ है कि आपने जाकर हिंदू लड़कियों के साथ गलत काम करने हैं, तो ऐसी सोच के खिलाफ बहुत बड़ी लड़ाई लड़ने की ज़रूरत है। और जिस भी शाकिर नाम, शायद साहिल नाम शायद उसका बताया है, जिसने भी ये हरकत की है, उसके खिलाफ पुलिस कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई करी। मेरी भी पुलिस से अधिकारियों से बात हुई है और उन्होंने विश्वास दिलाया है कि हमने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है और जल्दी वो सलाखों के पीछे होगा।
बार बार इस बात को कहा है कि दिल्ली की कानून व्यवस्था अगर एलजी साहब की 2-3 प्रमुख जिम्मेदारियों में से एक बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है, तो एलजी साहब ऐसा कुछ करते हुए क्यों नहीं दिखाई देते कि दिल्ली की जनता और दिल्ली की कानून व्यवस्था, दिल्ली की पुलिस के बीच जो अविश्वास की खाई है वो कम होती नजर आए। ऐसा करते हुए एलजी साहब कभी भी क्यों नहीं दिखते।
Very quick break here. On the other side, Delhi High Court issues notice to terrorist Yasin Malik on the NIA's plea seeking his death penalty. But you won't be surprised about the politicians who are actually speaking out for him. Full story next.
The heart of India's tech industry hosts a tectonic event. The latest updates in technology and innovation. The biggest names in Indian tech under one roof. From AI to 5G. From EVs to data security. Discover how technology is transforming our lives. Catch all the action at the BT Tech Today Congress in Bengaluru on June 2nd, live across the Business Today multiverse.
It is no less than a miracle. Kurtiam Oskam would never have walked again. He suffered a spinal cord injury 12 years ago and the 40-year-old had no chance of using his feet again. Today he's back on his feet, walking with the use of crutches thanks to the so-called digital bridge between his brain and the nerves below his injury.
Within 5 to 10 minutes I could control my hips, like they were like the brain implant picked up what I was doing with my hips, so that was like the best outcome, I think, for everyone.
When Oskam thinks about walking, electrodes in his brain relay the messages to electrodes on his spinal cord, stimulating the spine. Oskam took part in a trial in 2018 that showed with intensive training, the human mind could trigger artificial electrical impulses to stimulate the spine and spur movement. Now, when Oskam thinks about walking, the skull implants detect electrical activity in the cortex, the outer layer of the brain.
So when everything is installed, the patient has first to learn how to work with his brain signals, and we also have to learn how to correlate this brain signal to the spinal cord stimulation. But this is pretty short. In a few sessions, everything is linked and the patient starts training.
Interestingly, the study and its miraculous results were revealed the same day. That an American company, Neuralink, announced that it had received approval from the US Food and Drug Administration to implant chips in human brains. The announcement was retweeted by Elon Musk, who is the founder of the 7-year-old company. The company claims that its chips can surgically be inserted into the brain by a robot and are capable of decoding brain activity and linking it to the computers. Up until now, the company has conducted research only in animals. It is, however, unclear when the human trial will.
On the green carpet at IFA 2020, how is the feeling that you've come here and your co-actor is hosting the show?
It's great. I'm feeling suddenly a little lonely because Kapil is missing. Kapil is Vicky in my film on the 2nd of June. So he was lovely enough to do most of this carpet with me, even though he did it yesterday. But now he's been summoned to host, so he's no more a dost.
Sarah, you just walked the Cannes red carpet. How was the feeling and what 3 things that you learned there?
I think that I learned that every country has their own culture, you know. I mean, of course, we know this. But seeing it being celebrated, you know, I was with actors from Saudi Arabia. I was with an actor from Egypt. I was with an actor from Lebanon, an actor from Paris. I even met Leonardo DiCaprio. And I think that ultimately, despite all our national differences in terms of just regions, the passion that we all feel is the same. And truly, it shows me how cinema transcends all kinds of nationalistic boundaries.
If you had to walk the green carpet with one Hollywood star, who would it be?
I think right now Vicky Kaushal is the only thing I will say, even though I know you said Hollywood. But Ryan Gosling. मैं हमेशा ऐसे करती हूँ, मैं सही जवाब देके and मैं बोल ही देती हूँ.
What are you wearing today?
I am wearing a sari because I'm hatke. So it's a hatke sari by Abu Jani and Sandeep Khosla.
One thing that you cannot step out without from home?
Nothing really. I'm a very avid traveler. So I mean, like, I enjoy Kedarnath as much as I enjoy Cannes, as much as I enjoy Kolkata, as much as I enjoy Abu Dhabi. And funny thing, I've been to all of these in the span of 20 days. So I don't think ऐसी कोई एक चीज़ है जो हर जगह गई है except me. Maybe sunblock.
Who's the inspiration behind your styling?
Nobody, it's me. To be very honest, it's me, and Mama has just raised me in a way. I think style was a very important factor in her life, and I was just raised around her being stylish and styling my father. So I don't think about anybody else. I just think about what I would like to wear, and I wear it.
Babil, what was her first reaction when she saw you on screen?
I was very nervous about her reaction because she used to critique Baba like hell. Like Baba used to think, "Aaj to बहुत ही अच्छा actor हूँ मैं," and Mama used to be like, "बैठ जाओ," you know. And Mama used to really like instruct him on where he has to go in terms of his craft. So I was really nervous. And she, of course, she's, you know, it's not easy for her to say that you did a good job.
Politics over the new parliament inauguration hotting up in a big way after the inauguration. Now West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has fired her own shot, posting before and after pictures of her view of what parliament currently looks like. She's posted a picture of parliament after Independence Day and a picture of the Prime Minister along with the seers from Tamil Nadu, obviously insinuating that parliament has been taken over by religious seers, an attack on Hindutva by Mamata Banerjee, escalating the politics over India's new parliament. I want to go across to India today's Ritik Monda live from Kolkata. Ritik, the new parliament inauguration, the crossfire over it, obviously not going to peter out anytime soon, clearly. And Mamata Banerjee firing, a very emotive shot, a black and white picture from right after independence and a picture from yesterday's ceremony.
Right. Exactly, Shiv. We did see that the slugfest between the ruling BJP and the opposition party started yesterday on the occasion of inauguration of new parliament building. We know that like other opposition parties, TMC also stayed away, taking part in this much talked about ceremony. But now this is first reaction is coming since this mega event unfolded in national capital yesterday. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee took this to her Twitter handle, posted a picture. One of the picture, what we can see, a very old picture, just the post-independent, depicting Jawaharlal Nehru and other top leaders of the nation, and in which we can read that after independence, we read, and of course another picture, the glimpses and the momentum we had yesterday at the new parliament building, with Prime Minister and other dignitaries and guests. So, and Mamata Banerjee gone on record stating, and now actually it's very significant. We believe, we know that TMC, several top leaders and member of parliaments, they hit out at BJP, like the way they kept the president Draupadi Murmu away from this ceremony, and now Mamata Banerjee's very significant reaction, and she took this to her Twitter handle. It's very significant. It seems like this war of words will continue in future as well.
Ritwik, thanks very much for getting us the latest on that. This is an escalation from Mamata Banerjee's side, a clear signal that the inauguration of parliament may be over, but the issue is not going to be allowed to rest. It's going to be the fuel for politics going forward until the next parliament session. Going to be very interesting to see what the next parliament session is going to look like, especially since it's going to happen in this new parliament building. Will Will the boycott of that new parliament continue? Will there be greater protests by all of these political parties that decided to stay away from parliament? In what form or shape is that protest and dissent going to take by the opposition? We'll have to wait and see. But now it's very interestingly shape-shifted from contemporary politics into a before and after, the then and now, the Nehru cabinet versus Modi with all of these Hindu seers from South India. Obviously an insinuation being made that Modi has taken over parliament and infused it with Hindu religiosity. But that is not perhaps a fair comparison, given that that's not the cabinet. But the politics and the insinuation of what Mamata Banerjee is saying is absolutely and utterly clear. And this is the flashpoint that we're reporting to you right now, courtesy the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Remember, the Trinamool is one of over 20 parties that had decided to vociferously boycott the ceremony that took place for the inauguration of the new parliament yesterday. And that, of course, included the installation of the ornamental Sengol. Also, more breaking news coming in. The RJD, that's Lalu Prasad's party in Bihar, a day after comparing the new parliament to a coffin, has now mocked the Sengol, the Chora ornament that was relocated from the Nehru Museum in Prayagraj to Parliament, has now tweeted a picture of Amrish Puri with the caption, "Have you seen this movie lately?" in which a huge actor is holding some familiar object in his hand. Please tell the name of the artist and the film. Well, if I'm not mistaken, that picture is from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The actor is Amrish Puri. He's holding a staff in his hand, and the RJD, obviously with a great deal of sarcasm, trying to compare Amrish Puri holding that staff with the Prime Minister holding the Sengol. Doesn't need you don't need to be a rocket scientist to guess what the message is there. They're saying that this is all filmy, but the BJP, which has been looking at all of the attacks as far as the Sengol is concerned, has been counter-attacking, calling all of these insinuations, these memes, these jokes as basically attacks on Hinduism, also calling out the irony that those who had watched Ponniyin Selvan and denied that Chora history was Hindu history, now openly attacking the ornament of the Cholas and saying that it is not an attack on Hinduism. So these free-for-all attacks, this time by the RJD, comparing an Indiana Jones picture of Amrish Puri, who was one of the villains in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that famous iconic picture of Amrish Puri now being compared to the Prime Minister, courtesy Lalu Prasad's party. Free speech, freedom of expression on full display here by parties that talk about how democracy is dead. And remember, the RJD is also a party that is presided over by a criminal neta, one of the first to be disqualified owing to his criminality. And the nature of that criminality, of course, was stealing from the poorest of the poor as part of the infamous fodder scam. Chara Chori, courtesy the Rashtriya Janata Dal. The RJD of Lalu Prasad is busy making memes now to attack the Sengol ceremony that was presided over by the Indian Prime Minister. Just information, just putting it out there. Freedom of expression above all. But that's the meme that the RJD of Lalu Prasad has just put out. This is on Twitter, picture of Amrish Puri. Okay, let's get you out of Parliament politics and on to another big development that India today has been tracking closely after breaking the story earlier today. The news looks like it's tightening around. Has issued a notice to terrorist Yasin Malik after an appeal by India's National Investigation Agency has demanded the death penalty for him. He will now be produced in court on the 9th of August this year. Well, comparing Yasin Malik with Osama bin Laden, the NIA in court termed Yasin as the catalyst of the deadly 26/11 terror attacks and underscored his role behind coordinated stone pelting in Jammu and Kashmir. The NIA in court also listed out Yasin's involvement in Air Force personnel killings during the 1990s in Jammu and Kashmir. Yasin has been convicted of indulging in acts of terror and raising funds for terror groups and activities. He was convicted after pleading guilty to charges related to terror funding, spreading terrorism and secessionist activities in Kashmir in 2017. Well, unsurprisingly, backing Yasin Malik, PDP chief and former J&K Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said that the case must be reviewed, and considering since even the assassins of a Prime Minister were pardoned, a same kind of view may be taken here as well. Well, Yasin Malik was convicted. Remember, he's a convict. So here's more information about the case in case we need to refresh your memory, viewer. Charge number 1, indulging in acts of terror. He was found guilty. Charge number 2, raising funds for terrorist activities. Yasin Malik was found guilty. Charge number 3, conspiracy to commit acts of terror. Found guilty. Charge number 4, links to terror groups. Found guilty. Charge number 5, anti-India activities. He was found guilty as well. So all 5 charges, he has been found guilty. Gaurav, the NIA wants the death penalty for Yasin Malik. PDP chief, former Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti wants a sympathetic view to be taken for Yasin Malik. He's been found guilty on 5 of India's most serious charges of terrorism.
Shiv, you're absolutely right. Mehbooba Mufti has been taking a very soft line on separatists in instances, even terrorists. But let's talk about Yasin Malik for the moment. Yasin Malik stands convicted. He's been involved, incidentally, in the killing of 4 Indian Air Force personnel. It's amazing that Mehbooba Mufti wants a soft line on him, because Yasin Malik was involved in the kidnapping of Mehbooba Mufti's sister, Rubaiyah Saeed, and who was then Home Minister Mufti Muhammad Saeed's daughter. In fact, that is seen as the first step that led to the rise of terrorism, radical Islamist terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, when terrorists were released on the instructions of then Home Minister in a case which was of absolute conflict of interest, that the Home Minister's daughter was abducted. He'd just become Home Minister of the country. Rubaiyah Saeed was abducted. Yasin Malik was involved in that abduction, and terrorists were released. Those terrorists who were subsequently then involved in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, from plotting to other aspects of it. But that is how terrorism also started in Jammu and Kashmir. It's amazing that Mufti Muhammad Saeed's daughter, the other daughter, would want leniency towards a terrorist like Yasin Malik.
Incredible. One of India's biggest terrorists, and that's the kind of line politicians, and no less than a former Chief Minister of J&K, has taken. Truly, truly shameful. But like I said, not surprising at all. Gaurav, thanks very much for joining me on that. Very quick break here on 5 Live. Coming up next, the Chennai Super Kings all set to create history at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. MS Dhoni's led side is eyeing their 5th IPL title. Can they make it? We give you a big preview next.
Stevia, an artificial sweetener, is a plant derivative. Why is it being advised against? Is that the question on top of your mind? Well, that certainly is the question that many experts are asking.
Stevia, being derived from a plant, has generally been considered to be safer than the synthetic sweeteners. In fact, some studies show that stevia can help improve glucose tolerance. There are some studies which have shown that stevia can help lower blood sugar as well as blood pressure. So people who are consuming medications for diabetes or hypertension or are on diuretics must consult a professional or a doctor before consuming stevia, and they must also regularly monitor their levels.